Well, g'day fishers, welcome to another weekly Port Stephens Tackle World Fishing Report. Well, Port Stephens is on fire. The fishing has been red hot, and I reckon it's the best time of the year. March, April, May, bring it on. All sorts of species on offer. So let's start with inside the bay this week. Pelagic action has been aplenty this week. Those bonito are still hanging around. The Watson's leaping bonito, there's been chopper tailor. And also there's been longtail seen in the bay and caught in the bay. I know Ben Lupton, one spinning in the bay this week. So the longtails have finally arrived inside the bay. They're mainly hunting that tide line, so the incoming tide, that cleaner water, is meeting with the dirtier water. Obviously the bait's pushing on the end of it, your slimies and your garies, and that is where the longtails are. Now, word of advice, you're not going to catch them trolling a lure. The best bet is to either cast at them from a distance, so long cast, or float a live bait out there. That's going to be your best bet. So don't go and try to troll through them. All you're going to do is you're going to disperse the fish and you're going to upset a lot of anglers. So be stealthy when you chase the longtails in the bay, and guess what? They are very frustrating. Been doing it for a lot of years. So good luck with that, but you will catch them if you are stealthy. So give that a go at the moment. Still some big flatties around. Brent Harding nailed an absolute corker during the week, 95 centimetres. On a soft plastic, so some absolute beauty flatties around, and it is a really good time of year to target big ones. I think March, April, the big ones coming out to hunt. I reckon it's that time of year where there might be a second breeding cycle, and the big girls get down in the estuary, lower half of the estuary, and away you go. So some big lizards around. I like the local beaches this time of year. Can't beat around Corlette, Groins, Nelson Bay Beach, and the eastern end of Shoal Bay up near the hospital there. They're all good country to target big flatties if you're land-based. If you're in the boat, then I like to get over to Jimmy's. I like to get over to Pindima Bay and all those areas through there at the moment. So some good flatties around. Some good bream around at the moment. They're starting to sort of school up on those rock walls around Soldiers Point, around the back of Middle Island there. One Tree Island, all those areas in the shallow. It's a good time of year. Still get the surface lures out. That water's a little bit dirty, so surface lures work really well this time of year. Still enough warmth in the water and in the air to get those fish feeding on the surface, and not a bad time of year to throw some smaller hard bodies and crank those over the shallow oyster racks there at the moment. So good time of year to target brim on lures, that's for sure. Whiting will still be on the surface as well over those flats. Now that water clears up a little bit in the back half of the estuary, so you've still got plenty of time to target those whiting on the surface lures. And if you're after whiting, there's plenty on baits at the moment inside the bay in the shallow. Some big sand whiting coming in on live worms, but you just got to fish those lighter leaders, 4 pound leader. So all in all, bay's fishing really well at the moment. So get out there and get amongst it. I think it's going to be a good weekend for the bay with that swell pushing up. So we'll move on to the rock and the beaches. Longtail's been caught off, obviously, the known rock ledges. Not hard to work that one out. There's also been a couple of cobia hooked as well, but not landed off the rocks at the moment. There's plenty of coves. We'll get to that in a second. The unfortunate thing is this weekend, the swell's going to push up. There's a big swell warning for this weekend, 3 to 4 metres Saturday into Sunday. So just be careful. You're going to rock fish this weekend. It is going to push up. There are plenty of spots you can get out of it in Port Stephens. Just go for a walk and you will find some sheltered areas that fish pretty well in big swells, but just be careful. And obviously it's mandatory to wear a life jacket now, so just make sure you're doing that as well. Likewise with the beaches, I think you find the beaches are going to be a little bit of a write-off this weekend with that swell rising. So although there have been some good fish caught off the beaches, I think you might struggle a little bit, except for the beaches inside the bay like Shoaley. Will fish pretty well for whiting this weekend. So we'll move on to the offshore. Now, plenty of reports coming in this week from the offshore. It's been fantastic. The water has moved in really warm from Seal Rocks to Barubie. It's holding it at 24, 25 degrees, which obviously you expect this time of year. So warm water's pushed in, and with it, some pretty good species at the moment. So cobia, let's talk about cobia. Plenty of caught this week. I've seen at least half a dozen photos of big cobia, so not one under 20 kilos. Scotty and the boys on the Freedom caught one at 60 pounds, absolute corker while they were marlin fishing. Bob caught one, absolute beauty, 25 kilos. Seen some others caught, and I've seen some others lost at the moment too. So those shallow reefs at the moment are going to hold cobes. Little technique that works really well. Don't mind anchoring, getting a little bit of burley in the water, and obviously some live baits, live yakkers, live slimies, or even some dead baits. Caught plenty of big cobes on half a slimy thrown out the back unweighted. So cobia around at the moment. Longtails are there as well around the headlands there, although I think this weekend's going to be a little bit hard to target them because of that swell, but there's been plenty of longtails around. You might find them at the back of Broughton around the Sisters there this weekend if that swells up. and anchor up and just obviously drift some liveys out for your long tails as well. You can spin or you can stick bait for them. They will take a stick bait, that's for sure. There's been some good reds around too, some good snapper both in the shallow and in the deeper water, so plenty of good snapper around if you're after a feed of those. Plenty of trags on the reefs as well. I know there's been plenty of big trag up the Big Giver, the out of 21, the V. It's been loaded with really good trag at the moment, so fishing for trag's been unreal. And obviously the big question is, yes, there are small black marlin on the reefs. They've been a little bit spread out this week. Obviously when you get a lot of boats congregating in one area, it is going to send them sort of down, I guess. Well, not down, probably down and out. They don't like the boat traffic, that's for sure. So move around is the key. A few guys have been trying a few small lures and picking fish up out in that 40 fathom mark. So if you're not sort of liking the boat traffic over the reefs and live baiting, smaller 6 to 7 inch skirts have been doing all right, 40 to 50 fathoms. Bycatch of obviously dolphin fish as well. So that's not a bad way to do it if you don't want to join the crowds on the inshore reefs. Speaking of going a little bit wider, yeah, current's still running on the shelf, but there's been a mixture of big dolphin fish and wahoo. So if you can get to the shelf, it might be worth running some harder body lures, some halcos, getting those deep divers down. You might get the chance of getting a wahoo. There's also been some yellowfin in that hot water and some bigger dolphin fish, and you will pick up blue marlin and striped marlin and black marlin in that hot water. You just got to put the time in and run with the current. So definitely, all in all, Port Stephens is on fire at the moment. I have heard whispers of a Spanish mackerel or two being around, so you never know what's going to turn up at this time of year. Anyway, that's it for this week. Hope you enjoy. See you over the weekend.